Well, all right, we're back from round two. And we've been discussing like how we're going to do the layout on all these. And we came to the conclusion that we're just going to keep going from the beginning, almost like a book. So the next topic would be how I became a single father. And it's going to touch on child custody battles, the system, and if you don't believe the system is rigged for men not to get custody of their children, I'm here to tell you it is absolutely rigged. And through my story, I'll break it down and show you just what a man has to go through to not only see his child, but to actually gain custody. It was an uphill battle. Even though I got custody of James when he was 3.5, 4, the battle never stopped till he was about 10. And then I finally got permanent, never to be contested again custody. But anyhow, so he's born, me and his mom's complete utter chaos, and I leave. I offer her a deal. Hey, look, no use going into the courts. I'll buy all the groceries, kids' clothes, get you firewood, whatever you need. Well, that didn't work. Within a month, she had filed for full custody, no visitation, and a list of accusations. So here we go. I start the process of gaining access to my son. So right out of the gate, they do supervised visitations. And they ordered me to go to high conflict resolution, conflict parenting. I have to carry around the goddamn baby with the fucking key in it to keep it from crying and shitting its fucking pants. Alcohol and drug abuse classes, which at that point in time in my life, I had no arrests or anything that had to do with alcohol or drugs. They just threw the book at me, basically as a deterrent. So as I'm going through all this, your mom is fucking up immensely. She had moved an individual into her house that wasn't even suitable to have around animals, let alone kids. And drugs became a huge part of her life at that point in time. So it's a 6-month process for me to do all these classes. I have to complete these classes within 6 months. We get to the end of the 6 months. I still don't have overnight visits with you. It's still an hour every other weekend or a half hour supervised at the social worker building, right?
Was that at Quincy and all that?
Quincy, yeah. So I'd have to drive down there, take time off work. And these classes were all over the county. Some were in Portola, some were in Quincy. So every night after work, I was going to these classes. Now, mind you, I may have been an asshole at that point in time in my life. I may have been fucking wild. But I didn't do drugs.
No, drugs has never been a big part of your life.
And I wasn't drinking. And I go to these fucking classes. It's all fucking dope addicts, fucking junkies. People lost their kids, in and out of fucking jail for drugs, child endangerment, all this bullshit. That they're doing court mandated shit too. So I have nothing in common with these fucking people, right? Other than I genuinely want to see my kid. And maybe they did too or not, I don't know. Anyhow, the court date is coming up for me to get off of supervised visitation and go to unsupervised overnights at my house. I show up to court. The stenographer, the case manager, the judge are all scurrying around. And kind of ignoring me, but not engaging with me. I'm sitting there by myself. And the judge goes, Mr. Snyder, we're sorry, but we're going to have to do a 30-day extension and have you retake all your classes. And I go, what for? Based on what? Well, your completion of your file has been lost. We have none of your graduation certificates from these classes. So we're going to have to ask you to start over. So that would have been a year. Right? I said, oh, no, that's okay, Your Honor. I got them all right here notarized. They shit. They did not think I was intelligent enough to every time I graduated a fucking class, I walked right into their stupid ass courthouse, went into their notary, got it fucking copied and notarized for my own file, right? Mm-hmm. The judge, he wanted to, but he couldn't say it like, he didn't want to accept it. Mm-hmm. But it's notarized in his own court, right? Well, yeah, but the court don't have records. I can feel free to make copies.
Yeah, it's notary.
It's notarized. Go ahead and make copies. Mm-hmm. Make as many copies as you need. They are pissed. So what they do is they put another 30-day continuance on my case, and they want to do an in-house investigation. So they give me a date that the social worker is going to come to the house. I had hired 2 nannies from the Bay Area. Both had certificates in CPR. They went through whatever nanny school it was that was accredited in the Bay Area. Like, they weren't just a couple dumbass college girls. These girls had legitimate clients in the Bay Area taking care of kids. Okay? Right. They were up here going to an equestrian school in Quincy to become veterinarians, right? So I met them, I paid them both. They both moved in, okay? So I could have 24-hour care, because what they kept arguing is you were too young to be with me. You were too young to take from your mother, okay?
Right.
Because at this time you were a year and a half. Now they know she's on probation for drugs. She's been involved with a couple of domestic violences with her new move-in dude, right?
Yeah.
But they're ignoring all that.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, there was constant cops as a kid when I was living with her.
Right. But the court's ignoring that because she's on federal and state assistance. I'm paying child support, so therefore the county's getting my money and then allocating to her the rest. Okay. Right. If custody was to switch, she's unemployed. Mm-hmm. How's she going to pay the county and the state back? She can't.
She can't.
So she maintains custody while the working stiff dumb dad pays child custody, right? Or child support. Anyhow, so they put it out for 30 days to do this home investigation. I own my own home. Have a fucking badass job. My only arrest at the time was that stolen furniture that we had talked about. Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, it was just like
There's a couple other cases that I had been charged with fighting, mm-hmm. but they were dismissed because it was self-defense. So they had nothing legally to say that
you're an unfit parent.
An unfit parent, right? So they send this social worker to the house. At the time I had the 2 mastiffs, Rebar and Rosie, right? So I think in my fucking head, I'll bring the dogs out, let her introduce herself to the dogs. Of course the dogs are just big lovers, right? Mm-hmm. I put the dogs away, I take her in the house. The house is fucking huge.
Yeah, log house is a big house.
Right. So at the time, I had given the upstairs to the 2 nannies. Okay. I had stayed downstairs and made a bedroom in that back living room area. So the house was separate. We had a room set up for you, crib, bed, diapers to the ceiling. Everything was fucking dialed. And I had been doing a little bit of remodeling on the house, you know. So she interviews the 2 girls. Their credentials are on the fucking tables. She won't say it, but you can see her facial reactions, like, holy shit, like legitimate nannies. So her visit lasts about 45 minutes to an hour. Within 10 days, we get the report back, and the judge gets the report. Report says, unsupervised visits approved, but custody shall remain with the mother based on aggressive dogs was number 1. The dogs showed no aggression whatsoever. Unsafe living environment. She said there was a couple light switch boxes in the area that I was remodeling, the back bathroom, that were uncovered. Well, yeah, I'm remodeling. Then in her write-up, she says that even though the nannies are set up Mr. Snyder's house, I believe that there's a sexual relationship with Mr. Snyder and the 2 women. That it's not just a business agreement, that it's a personal sexual agreement, which couldn't have been further from the truth. So once again, I was denied custody, no matter the environment that you were living in, right?
Yeah, meanwhile, her house was...
On welfare.
Yeah, her house was terrible.
Probation. She's got other children. The guy that she's living with, a kid had died.
Yeah, they froze that baby to death.
The baby froze to death in his care. Okay? This is what I mean by the system is rigged. There's no reason in the world these 2 people should have children.
Yeah, no, living with her was like, it was like hell. It was hell. They would get, my mom and Sean would get absolutely so loaded. They'd be freaking out at each other. I remember them throwing axes, at the floorboards, screaming at each other, beating the crap out of each other. They'd be smoking that shit around me and my baby sister at that time. So we had amphetamines in our systems. Remember, I developed a heart murmur through that.
Yep.
And, it was just, I remember there was times we were sleeping outside underneath the bridge, even though we had a trailer to go back to. We'd end way up out in the woods for my mom to go get a dope run. A car would break down. Me and my sister would be terrified out there. It was just constant abuse. Like, there was not a time living with her that was ever peaceful.
Right.
And then, there'd been plenty of times a cop had done a welfare check. Well, they come in the house, here's my mom's drug paraphernalia, all this crazy shit going on, so she'd get arrested. We'd get picked up, we'd be sitting down in the cop station for hours, and...
Yeah, they wouldn't bring you to me.
No, they would never.
They would put you in CPS, and then I would have to start a reunification program.
Yeah.
It was never, hey, call Graham and have him come get his son. Never.
Never.
Now look, that's not totally their fault. Well, let me put it to you like this. I was at war with the Plumas County Sheriff's Department since I was probably 14 or 15 years old. I created a dynamic to where those cops fucking hated me with a passion. If they could have figured out a way to kill me and get away with it, they probably would have fucking done it. That's my fault. That's my fault. But it doesn't alleviate them from doing their fucking job. And that's the issue that I have with these fucking cops. They never did their fucking jobs. They pick and choose what they want to fucking do. They exploit who they want to fucking exploit. And they protect who they want to fucking protect. And it's a fucking game. So from a young age, I butted head with that fucking police department from day fucking one.
Yeah.
And it fucked me when it came to keep my child safe. Hindsight, I had no idea that they would have rather seen you in a situation that was unhealthy for you than to give me my child.
Yeah, no, it was completely unfair.
Well, they declared war on me on a front that they knew would hurt me.
Yeah, no, they wanted to hurt you emotionally because they couldn't do it physically.
They couldn't do it physically, but they could do it emotionally. So that's what that was all about. So, we continue the custody battle. At the time, I still was trying to serve two masters. I may not have been using drugs, but I was selling drugs. So, having one foot in and one foot out of the criminal world and trying to be a father, I thought I could hustle everybody. I thought I could pull the wool over everybody's eyes, be a dad, and still make money on the side. And I still worked. But anyhow, I digress. We're getting ready for another custody hearing. At the time, we had legal grow houses, warehouses, that we were legally providing marijuana to all the dispensaries in the Bay Area, Sacramento. So that led us into making, what do they call it now?
Dabs.
Dabs.
Yeah.
Okay. That's not what we called it back in the day. I don't know. We call it honey or whatever the fuck, but dabs. So, in this process of making dabs, I'm about 2 weeks out, and your mom had just got in trouble for something. And I don't remember what it was. I think getting in a fight. And what they would do is they let your mom go to jail, get out, and they give you back to her. Yeah, your mom got in a fight with that broad Sean used to be with. I think that's what it was. Anyhow, long story short, we're cooking. I think that day we were probably cooking 5 to 10 gallons of this fucking dabs, right? So as long as we're doing it in the method that we're doing, it's not illegal. So what happens is we're doing it outside. Everything's ventilated, aerated. There's no chance for anything to catch on fire or anybody get hurt. It starts to rain. And this individual that I was working with freaks out and brings the Pyrex pans in the house. Pyrex pans in the house, right? Well, he has one of those flat surface
grills
like we got, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't say anything to anybody, but he turns them all 4 burners on low, okay? And he brings in 4 pans, and he put pans in the oven. I don't think he turned the oven on. And then he brings in the jars of butane. We have these great big, those big ass pickle jars.
Yeah.
There was probably 4 or 5 of those filled up in the kitchen, okay? About this time, his oldest son comes home from school. Goes in the back bedroom. Scott's like, oh fuck man, I gotta go get Bear from gymnastics. I gotta take Bear to gymnastics. So he hops in the truck and splits. I'm sitting in the dining room with my back to the kitchen. And Bo comes around the corner. He's like, hey, uncle, man, can I get a drink of water out of the kitchen? I'm like, no, just fucking have a seat on the couch. I'll get your water for you. So I spin around in my chair. And as I get up and I walk past the fucking stove, the static electricity from my body ignites. Butane's a really heavy gas, so it sits down low, okay? It doesn't dissipate. All of a sudden, this fucking flame, that's all I ever see is this flame jump off the fucking stove, right? And all I can think is to get this shit off the stove. So as I go to bat everything off the fucking stove, boom, it hits. It picks me up. I'm here. Picks me up, spins me around, and damn night inverts me into the kitchen sink. I hit the ground. I get up, and it's tunnel vision of fire. Like just like this. And all I can see, Bo's face. Bo had came around the corner when he heard the explosion. And I really do think that the only thing that kept me from getting knocked out is that kid. I jumped up and I just fucking slapped him in the face and pushed him down, and the fire rolled over the top of me, right? So I'm holding him down underneath me. And because my fucking pants are hanging down, my fucking ass crack got burned pretty bad. Right? So I'm fucking sitting there holding the kid. I get him, I grab him by his belt and his fucking shirt. I drag him to the front door. I open up the front door. Well, when I open up the front door, here comes a couple other people and a couple other people around the back side of the house. The house, I mean, it popped so hard. The outside wall of the house was popped off the foundation, and the internal wall between the kitchen and the living room had 4 upright studs snapped in it. Okay? It just fucking popped. So people heard the explosion, so here they come to the house. So I get Bobo out, and I'm kind of like fucking, like ringy, you know?
Well, yeah, I definitely rang your bell.
So like, I gotta get back in the house and put the fire out. Mm-hmm. I turn around to go back in the house. As soon as my body felt the heat, it went into shock. Like, I started shaking. I could not walk back into the fire. I mean, I was shaking so fucking bad. And because I was shaking so bad, I looked down and I had noticed that I literally had skin hanging off my fucking arms, okay? I didn't notice it at the time, but when I got home, my fingernails had boiled. It was so hot. When I slapped that shit off the fucking stove,
yeah,
it was pliable enough to where it stuck to me. So whatever degree that was, that shit was fucking cooking my hand. I didn't even fucking know. Anyhow, I go outside because I can't fucking be around the heat. Well, around the corner comes this fucking lady. And she goes, oh my God. And she goes to grab me. I'm like, whoa, check it out, bitch. Don't fucking touch me. You know what I mean? Fuck.
Yeah, I got skin hanging out.
I'm fucking hurt. Yeah, what the fuck do you want, right? I'm a paramedic, the fucking correctional officer. I said, I don't give a fuck who you are. Go home. You know? She goes, well, what happened there? Oh, fuck, I was cooking some fucking spaghetti sauce. Fucking, you know what I mean? Yeah. Well, it sounded like an explosion. No, it wasn't an explosion. So I'm trying to get rid of her, right? She's like this fucking Karen, right? Mm-hmm. So she calls me an asshole, whatever the fuck, right? Well, we had a cop that was a neighbor. And this cop was on the team. Okay? So he comes over and he calls off everybody. Oh, it's all good, you know, fucking, I think he said, aerosol Pam can exploded, right?
Right.
No damage to the house, everything's good. I split, I get in the truck, I go home. Well, I get home, and now the adrenaline's wearing off. I got the shakes so goddamn bad that I can't stop fucking shaking. And I go look in the mirror. My face is fucking gone. All my goatee's gone. I got boils and blisters like the size of fucking tomatoes and cantaloupes. Like, it was fucking
intense.
I was burnt. I was burnt fucking good. So, I can't go to the fucking hospital. You know what I mean? So, I had some really good people in my life that went and got all the medical supplies I needed and was going to get me back to health. And they really did a phenomenal job. So anyways, that happened right before the custody hearing that I was supposed to possibly get shared custody.
Right.
Fucking timing, right? I still thought I was good. But here's how the law reads. You can provide to the co-ops with all your license and everything in a non-harmful manner. No booby traps, no production that would get somebody hurt. Well, the fact that I was burned meant I got hurt in the process of making, and now becomes a felony. So I get charged with conspiracy to manufacture a controlled substance. Now, these fucking yahoos thought we were cooking crank, and that's what they went after. Through the whole case, it all came out. But that's the precursor to my first prison term, in the middle of trying to get custody of my fucking son. So, I ended up turning myself in after I go on the run. I went on the run for about a month and a half to heal.
Yeah, you didn't want to heal in jail.
Well, I didn't want to give them the evidence that I was burned. So by the time I went back to jail to turn myself in, I looked like I had a sunburn. The funny thing about it is when I was on the run, I ended up in Orville, California, and I came across a kid that looked like fucking Freddy Krueger. His hands are all gnarled. He would have to fucking hold his lager like this and smoke his weed. His face, one eye's down here. Same thing happened to him, but he went to a burn clinic for 4 months.
Ooh.
And they would scrub him.
Oh, that's terrible to do.
Fuck. For whatever reason, in their medical book, they think that the blistering, and yes, it is toxic, but your body knows how to get the impurities out. When the blister pops, it leaks out. I never popped a blister. I would just let them sit there until they got so big that they would crack and weep. Mm-hmm. I mean, the only scars I have,
it's very minimal.
It's on my elbows, and I don't even know, maybe on my ass crack. I can't look back there. So anyhow, I turned myself in. I'm trying to remember when the fruit stand incident was. Do you remember that? That was before I got burned. When I had that unsupervised visitation going. Remember?
Yes. Yeah, we were at the fruit stand, and I believe you were packing up.
No. So, my girlfriend at the time split back east for Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. So this is before I got burned. This is right before I got burned. So she let me borrow her car, and at the time, I had a fruit stand set up out in front of my friend's Frosty. Remember?
Yeah. The Frosty was the coolest spot to hang out at.
Yeah. The little old ladies loved us. The fucking cops would sit across the fucking highway all day long, thinking I was shoving fucking bags of dope and watermelon and fucking shit.
As you're selling to the little old ladies.
Yeah.
It was. I remember that. Dude, they would sit across there like like they're the fucking feds and you're the Italian mob, dude. You're really just some fucking hillbilly out in the woods that sold some pot once in a while.
Yeah,
Like,
it really.
It wasn't as big of a deal as they fucking portrayed it to be.
Oh, it was ridiculous.
God,
I couldn't believe they would sit out there and watch me sell fruits and vegetables all fucking day. Anyhow, no, we went down there to go get money from the fruit stand. So we pull in, and I forget, her blinker didn't work, fucking something.
It was something stupid.
Something stupid. They pull us over, and the cop goes, you're on searchable probation. I said, yeah, go ahead and search the car.
Yeah.
They pop the trunk, they find a case of shotgun shells and skeet.
Yeah.
And I look at the cops, I'm like, goddamn good well I don't fucking shoot skeet. I go, it's my fucking old lady's car. Here's her insurance, here's her fucking registration. Like,
here's everything you need.
Yeah, I borrowed the car. I didn't check. Well, you should have checked the trunk. Well, I fucking didn't. They take you away from me. They place you in fucking CPS, and I go to fucking jail. Do you remember that?
Yeah, it was ridiculous. And then none of them explained what was going on to me.
Oh, no.
I remember
everybody there's begging them not to take you. Like, you don't have to do this. Like, it's a borrowed car. It's not his fucking shit, right? So that Monday we go in front of the judge. Well, by that time, everybody had called the courthouse. And the judge looked at it and goes, yeah, Mr. Snyder, don't shoot skeet. He's like, I received phone calls from his girlfriend back, I think she's in fucking Pennsylvania or whatever, that she shoots skeet and she's just heartbroken that this has happened. So he dismisses the case, right?
Thank God.
But it was still a big deal in the custody case.
Oh yeah, some big outlaw shooting skeet.
Oh yeah, shooting skeet and selling tomatoes. Fucking idiots. So anyhow, then the fire happens, right?
Yeah, that fire.
And this is where you can't serve two masters.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work. Your child ends up being the gambling chip of your fucking behavior.
Yeah.
Every time I would fuck up, it just set us back miles. So I turned myself into jail. And then this is the one time that, like, I was thankful I was in jail. Because I go out to yard and I see your fucking dingbat ass mother in the girl's cell. And I'm like, what the fuck? Well, come to find out, she got pulled over for whatever the fuck she does. And you had tested positive for methamphetamines.
Right. That's when they were smoking it around us.
I was fucking furious. Fucking furious. Had I been not in jail and as young and dumb and as fucking violent as I was back then, there's no doubt in my mind what I would have done. So it was a blessing that the timelines happened the way that they did, because I would have made a huge mistake.
Yeah, you would have lost me forever.
I would have lost you forever. I wouldn't even thought twice about it.
No, I mean, that's how it is being young. Sometimes you just fly off the handle and you don't...
Well, you see the world through angry eyes.
Yeah, well, yeah, especially when you have a fucked childhood.
Yeah. So when you're pissed, all you know how to do is be violent.
Yeah,
it works fucking it works great.
Yeah, because being nice to you is pretty foreign. You don't really understand it.
Well,
See how it works.
I haven't seen the results yet.
Right.
So, and I was in county jail at that time for... They set my bond at $250,000. So there was no way I was getting out.
No, nobody we knew had that kind of money.
Right. But I still had a pending child custody case. So they still had to allow visits, right? Now, mind you, there's other people in the jail that would get hands-on visits with their kids. They would take it to the attorney-client room. Mm-hmm. They'd give them a basket of toys. And they would allow these parents with a social worker to have a hands-on visit with their child. Well, when they brought you to me, I don't know if you remember it or not, it was through the glass.
Yeah, it was stupid.
Do you remember it?
Not really, vaguely.
They would not let us have contact. So I write, it's not called a warden, director of the jail, or the fuck, I can't think. Their response was that Mr. Snyder has so much influence in the community that he could influence somebody in the social working program to secrete drugs or weapon into his child's anus.
Yeah, I remember when they fucking...
I couldn't fucking believe it. Like, this is what they thought of me, right? Yeah, I'm like, I just told them, put me back in my fucking cell. Just put me in my fucking cell. I can't, you guys are fucking filthy to me. Anyhow, so I was in there for almost a year. I think it was 10 months. Or no, 11 months.
11 months and 29 days, just like the song.
Yeah, I think so. If I remember correctly. Anyhow, it takes a judge from the Bay Area to come up and hear the case and go, he owns a home, he has a child, he has family in the area. Looks at the DA, what the fuck you mean?
Yeah.
Have a $250,000 bond on this fucking dude.
It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. He goes, Mr. Snyder, what can you afford? I go, I don't have no money. And I think my mom at the time chimed in and said, I got $200. He goes, fuck it, $200, get him out of jail. So they released me out of jail. And I think that's when I went down to Biggs and stayed with my dad until the case was over. If I remember correctly. Oh yeah, we took a little break. So that was, I think 11 months. I was in county jail until I got released out on bond. Now when I get it out on bond, the case is still pending for blowing up the house. And I think initially, I think it was a 10 to 15 years with all the charges. All my money was gone. Couldn't afford a real attorney, you know. The one that we did have ran through $50,000 like it was toilet paper. So, trying to remember and think about, everything reverted back to supervised visitation. Mm-hmm. Okay, all the ground I had covered and made in the last year and a half, 2 years, was completely reset when that house blew up. In fact, a couple that I was in jail with, they got their kids immediately back. Now, they were sending their 15-year-old daughter to school in Greenville to sell pot at the school. She got busted, told on her parents. So they legitimately had child endangerment charges.
Right, which is nothing you ever even put me in that situation.
Right.
Yeah.
But they reunified their kids back to them within a month. And I knew this because they were coming in and out of the courthouse and I knew when I was in jail, so I got to talk to them. So when I brought that up to the caseworker, I'm like, oh, well, you can't compare cases to cases. I go, what happened to case law?
Yeah.
That's how the law works. If the law applies to one case and not the other, then there's something in the case that needs to be reevaluated.
Right.
Anyhow, they were not coming off of unsupervised visitation while the case was pending. So, that's around the time Well, your mom disappeared twice with you.
Yeah. Yeah. Once was underneath the bridge.
Well, before we get to that,
Yeah.
I didn't see you for the first, after I left her, for almost a year because she had disappeared. She had lost her house. I couldn't find you. I wasn't getting no help from anybody. And I think that's when she was going back and forth to wherever and staying underneath the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first time, quote unquote, she kidnapped you. Then the second time was about that time when I got out of jail. I didn't know where she was at with you, and the court didn't either. So there was this period to where I wasn't seeing you because I had no idea where you were at. And I'm just trying to figure out where she was hiding.
When was it you got me back and she broke into the house and took me out of the crib?
It never happened.
I thought it did. I thought she broke in the house one time.
Oh, I mean, she broke into my house all the fucking time. But she never took you.
I don't know where I got that from then.
I don't either. No, she'd break in all the time. Come and steal my shit, fuck with shit. I come home from work, all the windows are busted out of the trucks, the house. Constant fucking my shit up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so anyhow, during that time period of waiting of going through the trial with that case, you were MIA. And I wasn't getting any help from CPS. I got out of jail before she did. I started the reunification process. She was still in jail. She had like a month left. And they granted me temporary custody while she was incarcerated. I have a date that I'm to go meet the social worker at this CPS building. Your grandma Edie comes with me. We drive up to the front door. Front door's locked. It's business hours. It's like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Door's locked. Knock, call, no response. Now we're kind of walking around the facility like, what the fuck? All of a sudden here comes a cop car out of nowhere. And your grandma Lorraine following the cop car in her car. They go to the back of the building. The caseworker comes out of the back of the building, hands you to Julie in the cop car. Mm-hmm. Julie gets out of the cop car, gets in the back of Lorraine's car, and whizzes off. They released her early from jail to give you back to her instead of letting me have my temporary custody until she was out of jail.
That was wild.
Yeah, so tell me it's not rigged. I'm not saying I was the model father at the time.
But you're far better than what she was.
I mean, they could argue I just blew up a house. You know?
Yeah, I mean, it really wasn't you. It was...
They don't care.
No, they don't care.
They don't care.
And
You're involved.
Yeah, guilty by association.
Right. So she whizzes off with your grandma Lorraine. She doesn't have a house. That's when she, quote unquote, kidnaps you the second time. And I don't know where you are in this pending period of me dealing with this court case. And we'll go into going to prison the first time. As a dad. And not knowing where your son's at. We'll go into that in the next segment. But yeah, bring up a lot of stories I forgot all about.
It's been a long time since we revisited all this stuff.
Right. But it's the foundation of
Where we're at today, really.
Of course, and what propelled all the changes in our lives. You know, you got to walk through the fire.
Yeah.
Whether you light it yourself or not, you're gonna have to walk through that fire.
Yeah,
So
life is not easy.
No. All right, Bubba, I love you. Thank you guys for checking in. Have a great day and Happy New Year.